Hey friends, welcome back to Heartscapes, where we are learning the system of Reiki to live lives that are rooted, spacious, connected, and to remember ourselves. My name is Michaela. Welcome back. I'm about to show you a video that was recorded earlier today during a series of classes that I'm in the midst of. We do quarterly 21-day practices here at Heartscapes, online classes where we invite people to drop in and practice with us for 30 minutes a day around a particular Reiki practice and the integration of that practice into our daily life. It's a lovely tradition that we have here that we really enjoy offering to folks. And that gives us all an opportunity to recommit to our practice and to be consistent and be diligent in that practice with spaciousness, of course. And so we record them, we share them in a private space, and people can drop into as many of those sessions as they like or catch up on the recordings, however works for their schedule. So in this winter cycle of the 21-day practice, we worked with the foundational element of the system of Reiki, which is the precepts. We kind of alternate these offerings between working with very foundational practices within the system, and then some of the more esoteric practices within the system, such as the Furomyo mantra or the Ajikan meditation. And then occasionally a practice that I've developed just based on the alchemy between my Reiki practice and other things that I have studied and worked with. So this time we're working with the precepts, and I decided that I wanted to record one of these sessions in a way that could be shared more publicly with all of you here on YouTube. So this is that session. And so I just wanted to give you that preface before we jump in so that you know what's going on inside of the rest of this video. But this video will walk you through a particular practice that combines a little bit of mantra recitation with the precepts in their original Japanese form. And then, which if you haven't been practicing it for the last 20 days, feel free to just listen along, but you could also use it as a way of learning this mantra. And then we go into a contemplation practice with an added element of embodiment. And so in this practice, we are working with kind of a playful practice of making gestures of the body in order to reflect how we are impacted by the precept that we're contemplating. So bringing our physical body aligned with our mind, aligned with our emotions, with our breath. And this is a really simple, but sometimes challenging in that it's a bit of an unusual way of engaging in a practice. Unless we are, a person who has a background in, movement arts or improvisational dance or things like that, it can be a little bit of an odd request to make a gesture or make a shape with our body that reflects this precept. So if that feels true for you, I'm just going to invite you to be in a playful space, to just kind of relax into it, notice what you notice, and maybe do it when you're in a private place so that if you feel a little bit uncomfortable or weird doing it, that's okay. Nobody's going to be there to judge. But just really invite you to be playful with it and give it a try, because there is absolutely a documented link between our physical bodies and our mind, our mindset, our thoughts, our brain, and our feelings. And that when we feel stuck in a particular pattern, physically changing the shape of our body can help to physically change the shape of our thoughts, of our mind, of our mindset, the way that we're thinking about the thing, and therefore the way that we're responding to the thing. So it is actually a very useful and practical way of being in practice. And so I invite you to sit with that, to be playful with it, and to join us on day 20 of our 21-day practice with the Reiki Precepts. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to my past self who recorded this video earlier today. Thanks for joining. So friends, welcome to our continued practice with the Reiki Precepts, the foundational structure, the foundational mindset, worldview, perspective, and promised outcomes of practicing the system of Reiki from its Japanese origins. We've been working through these precepts using a range of practices that pivot around two specific foundational practices, one of reciting the precepts as a mantra using the original Japanese text, the full text that includes a prelude and an epilogue, to the typical 5 statements: just for today, I anger not; just for today, I worry not; just for today, I am grateful; just for today, I am true to my way and my being, or I am diligent; and just for today, compassionate to myself and others. So we've been working with the mantra to work with voice and breath and the feeling, the physical sensation of the vibration of those words in our bodies, which has a variety of benefits for us. And we've been working with contemplation practices. So the feeling of these words, the feeling of these concepts, these invitations, and the mental contemplation of the words themselves, what they mean to us personally, what they mean inside the system of Reiki, and how we can integrate them into our life and directly apply them to our life, to the conditions we are faced with on a day-to-day basis. And so we began with walking through a kind of an open-ended contemplation of each of those precepts, just really noticing what they each feel like, what they bring to mind, how basically what is our relationship with that precept on a given day in a particular moment, just letting that be an open contemplation, a practice of noticing how we respond in a moment to that precept. And then we worked with a more specific contemplation practice that applies the precepts as a whole, kind of as a lens, as a viewpoint to look at a specific challenge or issue or question that we are facing in our life, a decision we might be called upon to make, a situation with other people that might have some emotional charge or complexity to it, a place where we might be experiencing confusion or difficulty, and seeing how it might shift our relationship or our understanding of that situation, and therefore perhaps shift our behavior, the actions we take in that situation, if we apply the lens of the precepts to it. These are very simple practices. They're practices that can be done in a given moment. They can be done in the midst of a challenge. They can be done as a practice that we carve out time in our life to do, but they can also be done on the fly in the moment when we need it most. And that is really what we're always up to here at Heartscapes, finding ways to integrate the system of Reiki into our daily life, to blend the mystical and the logistical in our life, using these practices that come through ancient traditions and apply them to what we're working with on a given day. What we find is that over time, the application of these practices shifts how we think, how we feel, how we act in the world, and help us to live lives that feel grounded and stable, that feel spacious and wide open to possibility, and that feel connected with ourselves, with each other, with the world around us. So that is what we have been up to these past now 19 days in summary. And today we're going to introduce another layer of these contemplation practices. We're going to practice bringing our physical body into these practices in a way that we have not done yet. This is a modification, a variation, or an augmentation that I am bringing into our Reiki practice from other traditions that I have trained in. Somatic traditions, embodiment-based practices, and teaching styles that have us really pay attention to how we feel a thing in our body, the physical sensation we might be feeling in our body, the way that our thoughts and emotions have an impact on our physical self. And then use that awareness to make physical movement and change in the body in a way that can actually help to shift our mindset. So oftentimes we're working with, I would say all the time inside of these practices, we're working with the integration of our bodies, our minds and our mindsets, our thinking, our feelings and emotions, and our breath, the bridge between all of these things. And so in this practice, we're going to do that in a very direct way. We will, as always, begin with just a simple recitation of the mantra. 2 or 3 times to, again, bring the feeling of the precepts into our body, to reacquaint with them, kind of like greeting an old friend, inviting them into the room with us. Then we will begin our contemplation practice. In this version, I'm going to invite you to choose one of the precepts to work with, and I'll say them again when we're in the midst of the meditation so that you can really allow one to come forward, to choose you, or you choose it in any way that makes sense to you. It might be one that feels particularly alive for you. It might be one that's feeling particularly challenging or confusing. You might be like, I don't know what to do with this one in my life, or for any criteria you wish to choose. You're going to choose one. We'll then spend a little bit of time reflecting on that precept, bringing it into our heart and mind and into our body. And then at a certain point, I'm going to make an invitation that we haven't done yet in this space, in this container. We've brought this practice into other classes in the past. But I'm going to invite you to play. This is a playful practice. There's curiosity and experiment involved. I'm going to invite you to play with taking a gesture or a position or a movement or gesture of your body that feels like it's in response to what you're noticing. So for example, if you're working with just for today, I am grateful, and you find that in your life right now, in this moment, you're having a hard time connecting with gratitude. You're having a hard time feeling that deep sense of gratitude in your heart and your body, perhaps because something challenging is happening, or perhaps you just feel a little bit checked out. You're just not feeling it today. So the question would be, what does it look like or feel like in your body to be disconnected from gratitude, right? There might be kind of a hollowness or an emptiness that a gesture might bring forward. You might take a gesture like this, like gratitude is very far away from you, right? This is, again, something to be playful with. These gestures can be small. You can do it seated, so you can, use your hands in kind of small gestures, or you can get up and move your whole body. That would be the ideal way to engage this practice, to really allow your whole body to move with it. It's one that we can spend a lot of time with. We'll do a concise version of it here. But if this feels helpful, if it feels intriguing to you, you can give yourself a little bit more time and really let those gestures evolve. You can be in a call and response with them, right? So if you feel that first gesture come through, then you might sit, okay, how does that feel? What does that bring up? You might shift that again. You might pose different questions to yourself related to that precept and let your body respond to whatever you notice. So that's hopefully enough context for what we're doing. If not, hopefully it'll come clear as we are in the midst of the practice itself. So we're ready. Let's jump on in. We are going to begin with our mantra. And this is, again, the chanting guide for the full text of the Reiki Precepts as comes through a particular piece of writing from Mikao Usui. The words on the screen are broken up to fit a particular chanting pattern and convention. And so you can find the full text that shows the words in their complete form in other places, and I'll attach that below. So we are going to just take a couple of breaths here. Settle your body into a posture for practice, feeling well supported by the ground below. Noticing if you need any adjustments to help you feel well supported. And letting your breath move freely in and out of your body. Relaxing your belly so that your breath can move fully down into your low belly. And as your body and your breath come together in this posture, bringing your mind into this posture by resting your attention on your breath, letting the sensation of your breath draw your attention in and down, calling your focus into your center, to your low belly, to your grounded, rooted place. Resting here for a couple of breaths, letting yourself be welcomed home, finding a place of grounding. And from this rooted place, bringing your hands into prayer position, into gasso, this gesture of beginning, of gratitude, and of intention. The intention to be in practice today, to be open to what we most need to notice and experience in this time, and to deepen our relationship with these foundational invitations, these foundational principles, essential to understanding and practicing the system of Reiki. We'll go through this mantra 3 times. You can join me in reciting or listen. Shofuku no hiho manbyo no re yoku kyo dake wa hikaru na shinpai su na kansha shite gyo hageme hito ni shinsetsu ni asayu gaso shite kokoro ni nanji kuchi ni tone yo shinshin kaizen usui reiki ryo choso usui mikao. Shofuku no hiho manbyo no re yoku kyo dake wa hikaru na shinpai su na kansha shite gyo hageme hito ni shinsetsu ni asayu gaso shite kokoro ni nenji kuchi ni tone yo shinshin kaizen usui reiki ryo choso usui mikao. Shofuku no hiho manbyo no re yoku kyo dake wa hikaru na shinpai su na kansha shite gyo hageme hito ni shinsetsu ni asayu gaso shite kokoro ni nenji kuchi ni tone yo shinshin kaizen usui reiki ryo choso usui mikao. And resting here, just feeling the vibration of these words in your body, tiny vibration of every cell in your body responding to this invitation. And from this place, we're going to welcome in the precepts in their English form. And as I recite them, I invite you to choose one to work with today, the one that stands out to you for any reason, that feels like it has the most charge or juice for you for any reason. Just for today, I anger not. Just for today, I worry not. Just for today, I am grateful. Just for today, I'm true to my way and my being. Just for today, I am compassionate for myself and others. And once more, just for today, I anger not. Just for today, I worry not. Just for today, I am grateful. Just for today, I'm true to my way and my being. Just for today, I'm compassionate to myself and to all others. So bringing the precept that you've chosen to your mind, to your heart, and beginning by just simply reciting this precept in your mind, repeating the words. And as you do, beginning to notice what comes up for you in response to this precept. The thoughts that might come into your mind, memories, feelings or emotions, sensations in your body, any other associations. Let's take a few breaths here, allowing these things to arise for you. As you continue to breathe in and down, and as you notice the thoughts and feelings, associations that are coming with this precept, notice how your body responds. If there's any sensation that you feel, and ask yourself, how might these feelings look? How might they feel as a gesture of my body? If I was to make the shape of this precept and my relationship to it, how might that go? Begin to allow your body to move in response to that invitation. Let this be a gesture that comes from your body more so than through your mind. How might this precept look? What shape does it take in this time? And holding that gesture or that movement for a few breaths. Noticing if the shape wants to change or move. And now asking yourself, what might it feel like to come into right relationship with this precept? What does it mean today, in this time, in this moment, to be in good, right relationship with this precept. And allow your body to change position in response, or perhaps to be more fully in the position you've already chosen, whatever feels right. If you were to come into good, right relationship with this precept, or be more fully in this right relationship, what does it feel like? What does it look like in your body? Either repeating the gesture or holding it for a few more rounds of breath. Resting here. Again, bringing the words of the precept into your mind. And again, noticing how it feels, how your system responds, your thoughts, your feelings, sensations in your body. And then noticing, in light of everything you have noticed about your relationship with this precept in this moment, and what it means to be in good, right relationship with it, is there one small action or gesture that you can commit to taking today that is in service of being in right relationship with this precept? Something small, something achievable that moves you in the direction of what you've learned about how to be in right relationship with this precept. Taking a couple more breaths here. And then coming into a final gesture of completion. Gesture of gratitude for the presence of these guideposts in our life. The elegant, simple, deeply powerful precepts of the system of Reiki. That when we practice with them over time, using the full resources of our system, our body, mind, and heart, that our life changes in the direction of being grounded and stable, feeling spacious, feeling connected, remembering ourselves more deeply, feeling more resourced, feeling more able to respond to whatever life throws at us with more competency, more resilience, more resources. So I invite you to work with this idea of how does the idea, the thought, the precept feel in my body, and what might it look like if I took that shape? This is not a normal way of thinking about things, unless you are a person who has a history with things like interpretive dance or improv or other sorts of physically expressive arts, which I was not. This was very new to me when I started learning these types of practices a few years back. It can feel a little uncomfortable. It can feel odd. It can feel weird. It can feel confusing. Like, how do I do that? What do you mean, take the shape of a thought? Right? So, if any of that is true for you, I just invite you to work with it a little more deeply, to just stick with it for at least a few rounds, just to try it on, literally, try it on to see what impact a practice like this might have. Drawing on what we do know about the mind body connection, that our body and our mind are intimately connected, our emotional system, our nervous system, intimately connected with each other. And so changing the shape of our body, moving our body according to how we feel, does actually make changes in our mind, in our brain, in the way that we think about things and the amount of space that we hold for them. So give it a try. It's worthwhile. Joe, anything that you noticed in your practice?
We're just sharing a little bit about my experience today in this practice. The precept that came up is one that often does not for me, and that was just for today, just for this moment. I worry not, but the part of worry that can drop into fear, and that can color or affect how I show up and respond to whatever I'm perceiving that might have some aspect of fear in it, whether I'm conscious or not. Applying it to what we've been doing in these 21 days to a decision that might be challenging or have what for today it showed up as elements that I might be subconsciously afraid of maybe experiencing or what happens if this happened. And what I experienced in today's practice was a release, a softening of attachment to the concern that there might be something I might be afraid of, and the acceptance of so there is worry, there is fear, and here I am, and I can still make a decision more free from attachment to that. So it really kind of came together in a very real situation in my life concerning maybe my concern about other people's thoughts,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
those kinds of fears that maybe I might not acknowledge as a fear, but underneath, hey, if it's there, let's notice it and be with it and have an embodied practice. And the practice with an openness and empty hands, karate, empty hands, like I am not here to hurt. And the reciprocal, I am not here to be hurt. I don't have to be afraid.
Yeah, I mean it's a good demonstration of the way that this kind of feeling, thought, concept, all of the above gets reflected in a gesture, and the way that in turn that gesture can work on the thoughts. So,
And the shift, the invitation to see how the first gesture shifted, it shifted to an expression that seemed to be freedom from the attachment to the fear. And with that was this coming in from the inside out. I often say, when it's a yes, yes to life or about life, this smile comes to my face from the inside out. I can't even stop it. And so, with that smile is like joy. With the expression of freedom is like contentment and peace and joy all wrapped up together as an outcome in life of practice. Yeah. So it shifted to a expression, a physical expression of contentment, peace, and joy and freedom of that into being that
yeah.
and freedom that came from that. So there was a lot today that happened in the practice.
Good. Yeah, a lot can happen in a short period of time, right? Especially when we have kind of conditioned our system to be responsive, right? To be able to drop into these practices quickly, and yeah, just the familiarity of putting on a familiar garment or a familiar experience. That allows us to derive great benefit in a short amount of time.
Okay, good practice. Thank you.
Yeah. So hopefully this was a good practice for all of you. If any questions come up about this practice or anything else that we've done in this series, please don't hesitate to reach out. We really want these practices to be accessible to you, to be something that you can take into your life in a way that feels easeful and compelling at the same time. So please do reach out if you have questions, if you have experiences with this practice that you want to share, please reach out with that as well. We'd love to have conversation about it. May you be deeply provisioned for whatever comes your way today and all your days. Thanks so much. We love you. Bye-bye.